right, good morning, everyone. We'll start the webinar for today. Thank you, everybody, for joining today's webinar on how direct selling companies can use data analytics to fuel distributor success. So a quick round of introduction. My name is Ramizelli. I'm a senior business consultant, and I've been a part of Epixel for the last 5 years. And today, we're going to explore how data, when it is used correctly, can become your most powerful strategic advantage in direct selling. All right. So in traditional direct selling or network marketing, growth relied heavily on motivation, leadership, and instinct. So while these elements are still very critical, it has not changed much. It is still critical and relevant in today's business. But today's competitive landscape demands something more than that, which is clarity through data. So we see competitions and churn rates increase rapidly. But when your data provides clarity, predictability, and control, that's where you build a very solid marketing strategy. And this is specifically what we will be discussing today. Okay. So by the end of this session, you will understand why data analytics is no longer an option in direct selling. What are the key metrics that truly matter when it comes to data analytics for your business? How analytics improves distributor performance and retention, which is very important, and some of the practical strategies to implement a data-driven growth in your organization. All right, so let's begin. So before we delve deep into the concept and discuss more, I'll give you a quick introduction about Epixel as well. Epixel has been in this industry for more than 10 years, and we have been empowering MLM businesses across the globe. We are currently serving 90 plus clients from across 90 plus countries, and we are trusted by startups as well as enterprise level MLM brands across the globe. So we're not just focusing on one domain or the other. We have a wide range of clients, like I said, from startups, enterprise level customers from various domains like insurance, real estate, product-based companies, service-based companies. And our major focus is primarily on innovation, AI, gamification, and data intelligence. Okay. So why data matters in modern direct selling? So let me start with a very quick question for everyone here. So how many of us feel direct selling industry has become more competitive in the last 5 years? I think all of us do, right? Because competition has increased. Take any industry, not just the direct selling industry. If you take any industry, competition is a part of it. Because as you move on, you get more competitors in the business. It increases the competition. And what this means is it's not that you're dealing with multiple partners or multiple competitors in the market. The customers or your customers or distributors have more opportunities or more choices as well, right? So that's what competition brings into this industry. So direct selling industry has evolved a lot over the last 1 decade, if we can say that. And today we face increased competition, changing behavior pattern or buying behavior of the customers. There is high distributor churn. And why is it? Because of increased competition, obviously. So the customers or the distributors have more choices. So they tend to move away from companies that are offering less for them and move for companies where they think there is more opportunities for them, right? And this also might depend on some of the complex compensation plans that are out there in the market, right? And the companies these days are not focused on one selling channel. There are multiple channel selling like social media, e-commerce, word of mouth through offline selling. So there are different channels as well, okay? And actually, this is the real question. Are we making these decisions based on facts or assumptions? By facts, I mean, obviously, the data. Or are we relying more on our experience and making assumptions out of these experience? So what happens? Without data, we usually make guesses, right? And this could come with experience. I think this actually works with experience. So if you have been part of an MLM industry for like 5 years or 10 years, you are experienced enough to make your own guesses or assumptions. But with data, we know the fact. So there are no more guesses, no more assumptions. So the numbers clearly shows you what exactly is happening. That's what data does, right? For example, let's take a scenario. You're running your business, and what if you could know that like a 30 days or maybe 60 days in advance that some of your distributors are about to quit your business. So if you get that data well in advance, you could actually react to it, or it could actually save your distributors, right? So you could detect a collapsing leg before it actually happens in your business. That's what actually data enables you to do. So detect early distributor drop-offs, forecast the demands accurately, predict the rank advancement, which is very basic, and then optimize you can also optimize the incentives of your distributors, and this will help you prevent a team from collapsing. So how do you do that? So it could be by monitoring the participation of your team members in different trainings that you're offering them, right? And evaluating the team's performance as well. So what this does is data doesn't just measure the performance of your distributors, it actually protects your organization. All right, so let's now, so we know what data does, how it can help your business, how it can save your business as well. Let's go into some of the data types that every direct selling company must track. So it's not a good to have feature. This is something must that you should start doing for your business, okay? And to make things simple, I'm gonna break this down into 5 different categories here, okay? So the major thing is, see, almost all the companies that you run, data is obviously a part of it, and you do keep a track of almost all the data. But the question here is, are you tracking everything or are you tracking the right things? That's the major question, right? So you need to know what are the exact right things that you must track when you're running an MLM business. So like I said, I'm going to break this down into 5 different categories to help, keep things simple and easy to understand. First and foremost, it is the sales analytics, which is the most important part, right? So you might know actually how many product orders you have received last month, or how does your inventory looks like now? What are the stock that you have in your inventories or in different stores? But do we really know the personal volume trend month over month? If I'm going to ask you, what was your personal volume trend for the last 3 months? Do you have a data to show that? Okay, or what is the product purchase trends? Do you have data to show that? What is the average sale of a particular product? So these are the data that actually make sense or helps you to improve your business. So to overcome this, we definitely need to track the personal volume, the group volume, product performance trends, so how well a product is being sold over a period of time on a monthly basis or a weekly basis. Seasonal spikes, very important thing. For example, let's say you are selling a specific group of products over a period of year. It's not always the same, right? If you take the average, there are some months or some weeks where the product sales spikes, and this usually could be due to the seasons or because of the increase in demand of the product. So you should be able to track these to make sure that you are equipped well enough to overcome such scenarios, okay? And you should also track your average order value, and this will also help you to place your product in the market. So if you know what are the range in which your customers or your distributors keep purchasing the products, that helps you to properly place your product in the market in the price range as well, and also the repeated purchase rate, okay? So these are the major data points that you need to collect when you're analyzing your sales. So with all this, all this, you can identify which product is actually driving the retention versus a one-time sale. There are some products in your business that get sold for 1 or 2 times, but there are some very important products that get sold over a period of time consistently, right? So these are the products that you need to identify, and these are the ones that will drive the retention of your distributors in your business. So this actually matters. And this also shows you another trend, like if the repeated purchases drop, what does that tell you? You need to, these are the questions you can ask when you have the data in front of you. And when the repeated purchase of a specific product suddenly drop, so you can go back and see how well the product was being sold and what changes has come to this product that has affected the drop in sales. Is it the pricing? Is it because of the customer satisfaction? Has anything changed regarding the product's quality? Or is it just the follow-ups? Or are we not doing marketing enough for that particular product? So when you ask these questions, it's the data that usually gives you the answers for these, okay? And the sales numbers, like I said, when you do these analysis on these different heads, it always tells you a story that if you listen carefully, and that's the importance of tracking the sales numbers. So if you listen carefully, you always get the answer from the data that you already have in your hand. Next metrics would be the distributor engagement metrics. Like sales analytics, this is also one of the strongest predictors of success, because if a distributor engages continuously with your business, that tells you something different. He is interested in your business, the products or services you're offering them, and that's the reason why he is continuously engaging with you. So that's the importance of keeping a track of how often your distributor engages with your platform. It could be by your platform logins, or if you're offering them a mobile app, how many times do they use the mobile app, or how frequently do they use this. If you're offering any kind of trainings, it could be based on the, distributor engage. It could be based on their onboarding, or you can offer trainings on how well you can sell a particular products. So are your distributors completing these trainings that you're offering them? Are they interested in these trainings? If you're conducting some kind of events in the company, how well is the participation from your distributors? So who is not frequently participating in such events or trainings that you're offering them? Similarly to some of the team building activities that you're offering them. So engagement is often one of the strongest predictors of long-term success. The more your distributor engages with your platform, like I said, and your services, the more they will stay with you. So if a distributor stops engaging with you, like he has stopped logging into the platform for the last 10 days or 20 days, you know what's gonna go wrong with it, right? So distributor engagement predicts retention as well as the chances of a churn. And silence from a distributor, like I said, it always predicts an upcoming exit. So you should be aware of that, and you should be well equipped for that as well. And the third category that we are going to discuss is the customer behavior analytics. So this is usually connected to purchase needs. How many products are they buying? What is the market, or how frequently they make purchases? These are the things that you will be analyzing under the customer behavior analytics. So this is usually connected to, like I said, the purchase trends. So you need to keep a track of how often a customer buy a specific product, what are the frequent purchases, which customer refer other customers. That's another important point. So distributors and customers are different. We all know that. So when a customer comes to your website, the first impression is because they were impressed about the product or services you're offering them. And they might buy the product or the service. They might be satisfied. They could be satisfied with what you're offering them. But another important thing is word of mouth. Since long term, MLM industry has been working under the word of mouth policy. So it is highly important. It's very important that your customers start referring others to the business. They like the product, they recommend this product to others as well. That is another very important thing. So to keep it simple, what are the things you should be tracking under customer behavior? First of all, purchase frequency. Second is the product affinity. So this is actually the relation between the products. That this is where you actually bring in the cross-selling opportunity. So if somebody comes to your business to buy, let's say, a laptop, you could offer, what are the products that could go with a particular product like that? Maybe a charger, maybe a laptop sleeve, or a laptop skin. So these are the products that you can push to the customer along with the one particular product that he is interested in. And that's where product affinity comes into picture, right? And this is where you should and you must explore the cross-selling opportunities, okay? Similarly, we also have the customer lifetime value. So how do you calculate that? So customer lifetime value is another important KPI, which will help you analyze how long the customer is going to stay with you. Like their lifetime value depends on their average purchase value into their average purchase frequency into their average customer lifespan. So if you have these numbers with you, you understand what is going to be a customer's lifetime value with you, okay? And similarly, you have abandoned carts and the referral behavior. Like I said, referral behavior is very important. And there are times in which you find a lot of abandoned carts in your business as well. And these could be tackled as well by sending out frequent reminders, or maybe some strategic coupons or offers to the customers. So abandoned carts is also something else. They are interested in your product. They came to your website for a reason. They added this product on their cart, but due to some reason they left it. They didn't complete the purchase. And this is where you can pitch in and make them or help that customer make that purchase. So that is another important factor in analyzing the customer behavior analytics. Then we have the network growth and retention. Okay, so how you grow your network, at the same time, how do you retain? So if you have a company that is expanding very rapidly, let's say you have 10,000, or maybe you have gained another 50,000 users in last 1 week, this could mean growth to you at first instance, but it means nothing if you're losing another 30,000 users in the next week, right? So eventually you've earned 20,000 users and lost another 30,000. So that doesn't make sense at all. So network growth, this is where we analyze actually the growth of your network directly with the data. To identify these, you definitely need to track the recruitment rate, the rank progression of your existing customers, the attrition trends. So when a user joins you, how long they stay with you, and when do you start facing the attrition of a distributor after joining the business, and what are the reasons, or what could be the possible reasons that they left your company, right? At the same time, you also need to evaluate the depth and width stability. So like I said before, a network can look very big in terms of numbers, but this could be fragile as well. So this means the stability of a structure is is as important as the growth of your business. So you need to make sure your network is big. Definitely that's what we're trying to achieve. At the same time, we need to make sure it's not fragile and it is a stable network that you are building. And as we have the operational and inventory data, so definitely very important, you have your stocks ready, or you are capable of meeting the demands of your customers or distributors. So the inventory also speaks your business, right? So you need to track your stock turnovers, if you're getting any back orders, very, very important data point there, and the shipping timelines or the regional demand. So shipping timelines is very important. These days, you know how quick deliveries happens. So you need to make sure your inventories are well equipped to meet the orders or demand that comes in from your customers, as not just to meet them, it should be met as quickly as possible, right? Within your limitations, whatever limitations you have. So shipping timelines is very important, and regional demand. So some products might tell you with the data that you have, some regions, some products will have higher demands, like we discussed the seasonal peaks before. So when there is a seasonal peak, like I said, you should be well equipped to meet that particular demand. And if you don't know when this is going to come or from what region it is going to come, it is going to be a headache for you to keep your inventory ready to meet that demands, okay? So if products are constantly unavailable, what does that mean? The distributor's confidence drops, which is a very obvious thing. So if they're trying to refer somebody to the business, or if they go to your website for 2 or 3 times and they see the products out of stock, which is on high demand, that drops the confidence of your distributors as well as your customers. They start looking for other options. So operations and analytics must work together to prevent the loss of sales due to stocks or inventory that you have. So these are some of the very important data points that you should be collecting or tracking to fuel success for your business. Now, let's discuss something else here. So we are going to see how the analytics or data analytics can directly fuel the distributor success. So far, whatever we have discussed is from a company perspective. So how businesses can use data to manage your distributors. Now let's shift the perspective here, okay, and see how the data helps the distributors directly from their perspective, from their standpoint. So because analytics is not about management, like I said, it's not just about management control, it's also about empowering your distributors. So first point is personal coaching. So imagine this, see, when it comes to personal coaching, what is the idea that we already have, especially in network marketing, because your leaders are always involved in building these networks. So what your leaders does is give you motivation, right? And I'm not taking anything away from the motivation part, because it absolutely works. But is that the only thing that works? No, I don't think that works pretty much in this era, because we need numbers speaking to us, right? So instead of telling a distributor you need to work harder, you can do this, you can do that, you can definitely motivate somebody to work harder for you. But think it like this: instead of telling them to work harder, if you tell them, hey buddy, your conversion rate is 12% right now. If you increase that 12 to 18%, you will get 25% more growth in the business. These are the numbers that you're working on right now. This is, if you move your perspective to this aspect, you could achieve this much more. And that actually helps the distributor, right? And this is what we call as precision coaching with data. So data helps to identify the weak areas of your distributors, set some realistic goals for them, and also improve the conversion ratio. So like I said, coaching is not just about motivation, it becomes more strategic than being just emotional part. Okay, so that's how the personalized coaching works. Then we have the smart incentive. Another question for you. So how often a distributor miss their rank by a very small margin? I think this happens very frequently. And why does this happen? When a distributor is about to achieve his rank, let's say your rank criteria is like at the end of every month or a calendar month, these are the criteria you should be achieving so that you can move forward toward the higher rank. So what what could the reason be that they are losing out on such opportunities by a very small margin, right? And when they does this, that brings in burnout signals for distributors, right? Or the person has the leader about them, they might not be satisfied with the leader about them as well. So if you have a way in which your dashboard or the distributor's back office tells them precisely you have achieved so far, you have 5 more days and you need to achieve another 10 more sales so that you move forward to the next rank. This is what the distributors demand these days. They need to specify, they can't just by heart the entire compensation plan or the rank advancement structure, keep it with them so they know what they should be achieving on a month-to-month basis. You need to give them the opportunities in their back office so that they can keep a track of their performance and achieve everything possible within the timelines that they have to. So this is what it does. So it not just empowering the distributors, it also like I said, it also gives us signals if a distributor is getting burned out, or if some of your distributors have leadership qualities. If there are any indicators that a distributor is showing as leadership qualities, you can focus on that particular distributor and nurture him as your future leader. Okay, so like I said, analytics can detect burnout risk. It can identify your rising leaders, and it can also recommend you the next best action you can take, right? So you can move from actually like reacting management to a predicting management in such cases. And now we have product intelligence. So what if the system could automatically suggest the next product? So that's what product intelligence does. So like we discussed before about cross-selling or product affinity. So when you're in a particular platform and looking to buy a specific product, this is the opportunity for you to upsell or cross-sell. Okay, or if it's an existing customer who makes a repeated purchase on a specific product, you always have the opportunity to upsell in that case. Or if there is somebody who's looking for a specific product in your business, and at the same time he is searching for what he wants, you always have the option to cross-sell or give out subscription triggers, right? While doing this, your revenue increases without much extra effort. That's what product intelligence does for you. Okay, so that's about it, and let's go to some practical implementation strategies. Okay, this is where precisely we can tell you how you can make these differences in your business. So you know the theory, you've heard about how data actually helps distributors, helps management improve their business, but how can we implement this? Where do we start from? And to start, what you should do first is to clean your data. Okay, just think about it. You definitely, every business has data. They know how many distributors they have, how many customers, about, some of your product analytics. But is that a clean data, right? So you need to start from there. You need to clean your data, like remove all the duplicates you have in your whichever tool or system or database that you're using, and standardize all the reports you have. Okay, you need to make sure what you're tracking is exactly what you need, right? And you need to also automate data syncing. So that's where you start from. So bad data definitely can lead to bad decisions, but clean data will definitely build your business's confidence. Okay. And the next step could be to define the actionable KPIs for both the management and the distributors. So like I said before, not all the metrics matter, but you need to find out which are the metrics that actually matters for you. You should focus on your retention rate, the revenue that your business is generating per distributor, okay, the activity score of your distributors, and the conversion rate. So you can avoid all the vanity metrics and focus on the metrics that actually matter for your business. For example, when you have 10,000, like I said before, 10 to 20,000 new signings upfront when you're offering good service or product, all this doesn't matter if you're facing attrition, like for 40% of your distributors are going to leave in the next 3 months. So that's not actually growth. Real growth is actually on a very stable aspect. So you definitely need to, like I said, first screen all the data, make sure you're tracking the relevant one, and also define the actionable KPIs for your business. Okay. Then we have some strategies that you can try for your dashboards. Okay. So I mean, obviously, a distributor will not be seeing the same dashboard as the company management, right? So these are, I mean, the data that you track is not relevant for a distributor. So he will be focused more on his personal improvement, his team's improvement, how he can bring in more distributors or customers. So different roles in the business need different type of visibility. That is the strategy that you need to implement while designing the dashboard for your a distributor or whatever. It could be a staff role or a distributor or the management or the business administrator who's taking care of the entire aspects of the business. So you need to have a strategy for design the dashboard for that. Okay. So if it comes to a distributor dashboard, you can just keep it very simple and motivating, like give them options for track their goals, how well they can progress in sales, or the activity alerts. If they are not, like we said, if they're not active in the business, the engagement falls or dips, you need to alert them on that, right? And this kind of clarity will definitely reduce the overwhelming aspect for your distributors. And similarly, when you're designing a leader dashboard, leaders need team insights. It's not just about their personal goals or their personal sales. You need to give them team performance KPIs, movement of rank between their distributors. How many of your distributor falls on what all rank categories, or how close are they to achieving the next rank? So a leader can pitch in, connect with the distributor, tell him exactly what he does, I mean, what he needs to do so that he can move forward in the business, right? And similarly, retention indicators are also a important aspect when it comes to leader dashboards. So that's why a leader should pitch in. If he thinks or if he finds that one of his distributors login has dipped or engagement has dipped, should be able to pitch in and retain that distributor, identify the flaws and retain that particular distributor. Similarly, then we have the corporate dashboard, which the management uses. So here you need to have all kinds of strategic growth metrics. You need to understand how the business is performing, how your sales are performing, how often your distributors are engaging, how happy they are. I mean, customer satisfaction matters. You need to have, and all these should be predictive forecast as well. You shouldn't get the data and then wait to analyze the data and then react as per it. I mean, that's not what works in all the cases. You need to be able to proactively attend issues that could rise in your business as well. And we need to focus on operational efficiency at the same time as well. So all of this, what it says is, if the right data, if that reaches then at the right moment, this is what we are trying to achieve. Okay. So there are specific set of data that you need to configure or strategically configure for the distributors, for the leaders of your business, and for the management as well. So the right data should reach the right person. And that's not the only thing, it should reach you at the right moment as well. Okay. And we can also discuss something about the automation and cultural alignment as well. So analytics is should not normally, I mean, should not require manual work every week. It has to be automated. So you can't pull out the data for every single aspect or every single matrix and do the analytics manually on your own. All this has to be automated, and these data should be portrayed to your distributors or the management or the leaders in a very interactive manner. You should make life easier for them, right? So nobody wants to give the idea of opening up an Excel sheet in front of them when they go to their back office, right? So they don't want to see that. They don't want to see numbers. They want to see the performance matrices in a very interactive manner. Okay, so automation is definitely the key. And imagine receiving automatic weekly alerts on the rank progression, activity decline, or milestone achieved. So these, I mean, if you get these data in a very interactive manner, the distributor or the leader doesn't have to do any more guessing, right? You figure out, you have the data in front of you, and you figure out what's going wrong and you work accordingly. So and at the same time, there is another thing that we need to decide as well. So the data should not work as a surveillance, right? It should always work as a support for your distributors. So these, like I said, these data should reach the right person at the right time, okay, through the right channels. And this should actually guide the decisions that your distributors and the leaders make. It should support the distributors. It should empower the leaders with all kind of metrics that he gets from his team's performance. And this should not be used as a tool to punish your distributors, but just to enhance it, right? So, like I said, this has to be data has to be given to the distributors and customers with clarity, and this should accelerate your growth. And to give you an idea about all this, I'll also go to a case study, which is where we evaluate one of our clients' performance. I mean, the issues that they have faced and how we as a team help them identify their challenges and how we actually help them overcome this. Okay. So the slide doesn't tell you much. I'll just give you a walkthrough about the real scenario that happened. It was actually a mid-sized skincare direct selling company, and they were actually operating in 3 different regions. They had a very strong product line. The recruitment numbers were absolutely brilliant. But at one point, their growth has stalled. I mean, the management didn't even realize that. But over a period of time, they recognized growth isn't happening how it used to be. Okay. And like I said, on paper, things looked fine. But when we analyzed the data, we found some hidden patterns or problems in there. So to give you an idea about what challenges were there, the distributor churn was increasing. Like I said, it was not rapid, but it was quite. Okay, so slowly they were losing their distributors, and there were some kind of inventory mismatches that was creating the frustration among the distributors. We had an analysis, we did a survey among the distributors, and we got to know that there are some kind of inventory mismatches, and this was creating a lot of frustration among the distributors. Okay, and due to this, the average order value has plateaued, which means it has not dipped drastically. There was no change or there was no progress. So it was like a plateau. The average order value has no change. It remains constant. It remained constant, and the leadership team were unaware of the inactive legs that were forming deep in the structure. So we were collecting the data, but the business was actually collecting the data before, but we think that they were not using this data very strategically. So that was actually the issue that we found out. Okay, so we focused on 4 different areas to make sure we overcome these challenges that the company is facing. So first and foremost, what we focused on is the distributor retention. So when we analyzed their engagement data, we discovered something very interesting, which is distributors who logged in at least 3 times a week. So this is where we evaluate the engagement of the distributor. So if a distributor or when a distributor logged in at least 3 times per week and completed their onboarding training on time, and when they participated in one event in the last 30 days that the company is offering, uh, such distributors, we found a pattern that they were 2.4 times more likely to stay active beyond a period of 90 days within the business. So these factors were very important. So we had huge numbers, different sets of data in front of us, but these three struck us differently. And these, when we took out these three data, it actually gives us indicators that the distributors are going to stay with the business for more than 90 days at least when we evaluated these 3 sections. But many new distributors were becoming inactive within a span of 45 days as well without anyone noticing, because these were the numbers that actually mattered. So what did we do was we implemented automated inactivity alerts after 7 days to the leaders as well as to the management. So this is where the management and the leaders can pitch in. When if they notice a distributor is specifically inactive for more than 7 days, they pitch in, see if there is any kind of frustration building up, what are the reasons, if they need any help, or if they need any kind of guidance and support that is required from the distributor or the management, the leader or the management, they can offer that to the distributor. When we also implemented leader notifications when the downline showed engagement decline, similarly to inactivity of users in the platform, and onboarding completion tracking as well. So while onboarding, the company used to offer a specific training to the distributors. So this, but the training was never tracked. So we help them track these trainings, right? So when a user onboards, make sure, somebody might leave these kind of trainings midway and they might never come back and complete it. So we make sure it's not just about completing the training, keep a track of every aspect of the training. So we implemented that, and there were also activity score dashboards. So which means a leaderboard in the back office for the management as well as for the leaders to track how many of the distributors have completed the training, at what stage they are in. So instead of reacting after like someone quit, the leaders intervened early after implementing this. So within the 6 months, the difference we saw in the one particular aspect of distributor retention was an increase by 18%. Okay. So when we implemented these changes and asked or given the support to the leaders and management to track the data that matters for them, the distributor retention has increased by 18%. Then comes the inventory accuracy. So the frustration that was building among the distributors was purely because of the inventory mismatches that was there in the business, right? So what we noticed here is some regions constantly reported back orders, okay, and other regions had slow moving stock as well. So there was not any real time product movement data available in the business. So what we did was we implemented a regional demand tracking, an SKU level performance dashboard. So based on every single product, there was a performance dashboard implemented in the back office. We also created back order alerts for the management and a seasonal trend forecasting. Once again, very important. We might not consider this as a very important thing, but seasonal trend forecasting is very important to analyze when are you going to face a surge in the demand for the products that you're or the services that you're offering to your customers. So when we implemented these changes within the next 6 months, once again, what we noticed was the inventory accuracy has improved by 22%. Okay, so that's actually a massive improvement, and that's what we have noticed. And this meant when the accuracy improved, what it meant was there were fewer frustrated distributors, the order fulfillment became very faster, and there was improved confidence in the system. Okay, so that's what it does. And the third aspect we took was the average order value. And when we had an analysis on the customer behavior data, we noticed certain products were frequently purchased together, but there was no cross-selling attempts or prompts that ever existed. So even if you see your customers are coming to your platform and frequently buying one particular product, like I said before, this is the area or this is your time or opportunity to pitch in the cross-selling aspect. You should actually do that. So what we implemented was we automated some recommended bundles for the customers, including that particular. See, if one product is getting sold frequently, why don't you try some bundles or related products, create a bundle and offer them as a bundle? That might interest some of your distributors who's buying that one particular product. Next time, if he sees he's getting a bundle at a more profitable price, then obviously going to choose that bundle. And this is your cross-selling opportunity. And the threshold based free shipping incentives, right? So when you see your customers are making an order on a very frequent basis, and they choose to, if you offer them some additional products along with the free shipping incentive, that works at most cases, right? So we implemented that. And subscription promise for high repeat products as well. So once again, when repeat products are being purchased, we give them subscription promise, some offers or incentives along with subscriptions. And the benefit of such subscriptions are they don't have to bother about coming to the business back and placing repeated orders. They subscribe to it, they get it at every frequent interval. So they can choose which intervals they want the products, and that's when the subscription kicks in, right? So these are not any aggressive changes that we bring in. These are just some small nudges, right? So no, nothing aggressive here. And within the next 6 months, once again, regarding the average order value, the increase we saw was 15%, which is once again very impressive, right? So the revenue grew and without increasing any recruitment pressure. So that's how the average order value has increased in this case. And we also implemented some ways to detect the inactive teams at a very early stage. So what we does here was using genealogy depth analysis. Okay, and we identified teams that have a declining group volume, obviously means declining sales, and leaders with falling engagement and also structural imbalances. So identify the leaders who are not engaging frequently. At the same time, falling engagement doesn't mean that the leaders are not engaging all the time. Their team members could also be a factor. So we need to identify such leaders and help those leaders in turn identify the customers or distributors who are getting inactive in the business, right? And we also analyze some of the structural imbalance. So instead of discovering collapses after the lows, we spotted warnings a little bit early. And corporate leaders began conducting targeted support calls and specific team leaders before major drops occurred. And several production teams collapses were prevented because of this, and alone protected the significant monthly volume of the business. Okay, so the real lesson here is, I mean, after seeing this case study, what you can ask yourself is, did the company change their compensation plan, which is actually the backbone of your business, or did they bring in any kind of change in that? No. Did they drastically increase their marketing spend? Have they implemented, I mean, increase the spend, or bring in some drastic change on the marketing aspect? No, they didn't do that. Did they recruit any person to double their distributors, or any strategic movement to increase their distributor strength drastically? No, they didn't do that. What changed is actually the visibility. So there was a lot of issues that were inside the business that the management were not aware of, the leaders were not aware of, and there were frustration building among the distributors, and even the distributors couldn't convey this frustration to the management because there was no pathway for that, or the management had no ways to identify this. This is where the data comes into picture. Even if your distributors or leaders come to you and tell you these are the issues that we are facing, the data tells you that promptly, and that's where your data analytics pitches in. Okay, so in this case, the results that we achieved by making these changes to the company within the span of 6 months was 18% increase in the distributor retention, 22% improvement in inventory accuracy, and 15% boost in the average order value. So the key wasn't just collecting data, it was making the data actionable for that company. Okay. So I hope this give you enough idea of how you can implement data analytics in your business, and how important it is for your business. So as a summary, let's go back to reflect on what we have covered so far in this webinar. Puneet, there are a lot of things that we have discussed, a lot of terminologies could be there. But if you want to remember only 5 things from this particular session, you can remember this, that data is essential for a sustainable growth. Okay, so it's not just about making some drastic changes. It sometimes is about making those small nudges, and data is definitely essential for a very sustainable growth for your business. And engagement predicts the retention. So, retention, attrition is a big issue, and the engagement of the distributors is a key indicator of predicting such behavioral changes. And analytics improves coaching precision. Like we said, motivation doesn't work all the time. You need precision coaching with data. And the predictive tools reduce the churn, obviously. And clean data plus actionable KPIs is always the measurable growth. So you need your data clean, remove all the unnecessary aspect. You don't have to track everything that your company does, but you need, or you must track the data that matters. Along with it, you need to implement some actionable KPIs so that these data is useful for you. And this will in turn give you the measurable, sustainable growth for your business. Okay. So, like I said, and I want to leave you with this note as a part of this webinar. So, data will never replace your leadership. That is not the idea, or that is not what data does. It always enhance your leadership. Okay. So, that's it from my side for this webinar, guys. Thanks a lot, everybody, for joining this session. Oh, we have a Q&A session as well. So, if any of you have any quick questions, we can quickly go through those as well. So, any questions, you can come on board, or you can drop the question in the chat as well. Okay. Yeah. Oh, we have a question, I think. So can some small direct selling companies, sorry, benefit from analytics? Absolutely. Yes. See, it becomes easier if you're a small company or if you're a startup. So data analytics is not designed, or it is not just for enterprise level businesses. It is applicable for small scale or startup businesses as well. Like I said, it becomes easier if you focus on the data that matters for your business at a very early stage, even when you're starting your business. Makes things easier for you. Get the data organized, and figure out or focus on data that matters to your business, right? So absolutely, like to answer the question, small direct selling companies can benefit from analytics as well. So even it could be by even simple dashboard tracking the sales or engagement of your distributors. All these can make a significant impact. So yeah, it matters. Okay, another question. How do we prevent distributors from feeling monitored? Yeah. So this is a point that we have discussed in between, I think. So data is not about implementing or giving the idea of a surveillance to your distributors. So nobody likes that, right? So let's say if you are an employee of a company, do you entertain micromanagement? You don't. So being under surveillance is not the idea you should give, and data is not designed for that. I mean, this is not the purpose of data analytics. So when you have the data, you need to give visibility for your distributors itself. So let's say you are managing a company, you have all these data that tells you what is where we are going wrong, what is doing right. So it's not this is not intended for you to have the visibility on the data and go back to your distributors and tell them these things are going wrong. You need to change that, or give them the feedback. That's not what you should do. What you should do is give them access to the data that matters for them. Like we discussed, give them the visibility. If I'm a distributor, I need to see my performance in my dashboard. I don't want somebody to come back to me every time and say, these things are going wrong, you should be doing these. So give them the visibility, create a dashboard strategically for the distributors, give them the idea, or give them the data that matters for their performance. Okay. So that will help them improve themselves, rather than somebody going behind them and guiding them all the time or giving them feedbacks all the time. So that's what we should do. So to prevent the distributors from having the feeling of being monitored, you should give them the access. You should give them the visibility of data that matters for their performance. So like I said, it should be positioned as a growth tool rather than being a surveillance tool. All right. So yeah, I think that's it. So if we don't have any more questions, I think we can wrap this up. Okay. So thank you everyone for joining the webinar today. It was a pleasure meeting you and giving this session or leading this session for you. Thanks a lot for joining. I'll see you we'll have another webinar coming up shortly, and we'll see you soon. Thank you.